It is about you mastering the transition from ego to God, from fear to love, from lack to abundance, and continuing to keep those things in mind all day. Now that's real work. Great day, Masters. It's amazing to see you. I am doing a little bit of a different format today. I'm outside. I am outside of my home and it looks so beautiful. We're going to hop right in. What is surrender to you? What does surrender look like for you? This is something that I have been on a journey really trying to discover what surrender means. And it looks different for all of us. So I want to give you the definition of surrender. Abandon oneself entirely to give in. And this can look different based on the situation. This can look really different based on the situation, but I'm bringing it here today because I really feel like in the mastery of your own transition, and that's why I introduce you and say, hey, you are a master. I am a master. We're in this master's community and we are being led by the master. It's allowing ourselves to be surrendered inside of not knowing. I can tell you how much my life has shifted. I had the blessing of celebrating a 35th birthday. Your girl is 35. And I don't feel like I thought I would. I thought I would be nervous. I thought I would feel like, oh, the world is ending. Like I'm getting older, especially in today's society where you can't be past 20 anything and then before your life be over. But I feel great. I was listening to a YouTube about 7 years, the seven sevens and sevens. And so 35, this cycle that I had from 28 to 35, I look back and I reflected on the things that I had learned. I had just moved back to Cincinnati, back or from New York, and I just needed to have a shift, a mind shift, and it really started to. I did a solo retreat in Bali, and it really started to build my level of spiritual development and openness. And you'll hear this, and you've seen my story or heard my story. I was able to, when I was in New York, I was doing a lot of the great things and looking cute and being with this person, being with that person, and taking pictures and this organization. And the people that I was around were great people, but I myself was just not happy. It looked good on the outside, but I didn't feel good on the inside always. And being back in Cincinnati really started to help me pull back the layers on the things that I was feeling and helping me to create a safe space. And going to that retreat in Bali helped to create a safe space for myself and to really see myself. And so now at 35, I get to start the cycle all over again in this years of 7. And I can tell you, I released a job that I had for the last 5 years. Did not have a backup plan. Did not have a backup plan. I I chose to leave as a part of a pre-birthday gift for myself because it was more important to me to be in integrity with myself. And I was at this job and I was working more for less money in fear of, well, if I leave, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm not going to be able to do the things that I want to do. I am dependent on this job. And a part of surrender is I started to release that there is no person, place, or situation that I ever need to be connected to. There is no person, place, or situation that you need to be connected to. And I think that's where life is different. And when we talk about truly surrendering, it's surrendering that the material things, the life things, the jobs, the relationships, the money, even the health, even the way you view yourself and in your own body, surrendering all of that. And it takes work. This is not, it's simple and it's different. The idea is not hard. It's our own pride and our own ego that keeps us from releasing in a way that life can really flow and be at ease and be at peace. I'm looking behind me because sometimes I got different types of little animals. Okay, they got friends and they're welcome here, but just not while I'm recording. I don't want to be around them. So I'm looking around. Maybe I need to surrender that. Perfect example. When we're thinking about that, surrendering ourselves, this has been it's not a one time thing. Like, have you ever been in a situation where you're, let's say you're at church, or you're with your group of friends, or you're with your partner, or you're with your family, or you just had this really just magical feeling that joy is like everything and anything is possible, and just joy is just illuminating through your body, and you felt like nothing can harm or hurt you, and you're safe in this moment. And then the very next moment, or the very next day, or next hour, you're questioning if you're doing what you need to be doing, if things are going to work out the way that you needed to, if that project is going to close, if you need to make amends with somebody that maybe you weren't making amends with before. You're questioning all of these different things. And so there is a continuous cycle. Like, it's not just a one off experience when you're surrendering. You are constantly surrendering throughout the day, every day. Because we live, if you can think about it like this, we live in a matrix, and I'll relate it to the matrix, but we live in this bubble where people are impacted by how things look. And when you are really in the space of your spirituality and God, you can't really look at things around you. You look at things around you to help you to know that God is moving and shifting in you, but it is an internal shift first. And it is a part of your heart posture and your ability to breathe and surrender. And one thing that I've been doing is this 9 day nirvana that I was listening to with Curly Nikki, and she says, "Oh Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Take care of everything." And we say it 10 times. And it's so beautiful because you're saying simple words, but something happens within your heart that allows you to feel just at peace and at calm. And that's really what I'm going for. When I talk about surrendering, it's releasing the control. It's releasing the perfectionism. It's releasing controlling others and yourself. It's releasing how you think it should look or how you think it should have been. It's releasing unforgiveness. It's releasing being separate or feeling like you are separate from your family, your friends, your partner, separate from just the abundance of love that is so for you. And I have to continue to remind myself, I'm being honest with you, I have to continue to remind myself that I am always included inside of God's love. And here on the Mastery of Transition, it wouldn't be a part of this program or a part of the intention that has been set inside of this message if I wasn't going to share that with you myself. I do not have it figured out. I do not know it all. I have an idea of what things are, but really I had to ask God, Lord, take care of everything. Take over where you already abide and speak through me. And what's so beautiful is we get to be in a place where I can say one message and you feel it in your heart. Someone else can say something completely different, look completely different. You hear it at a different point in time and you can feel it in your heart. You know the truth because you feel it. And that's what the beauty of God is. And I'm not just talking about religion. That's another thing that I've had to surrender is how to do things in a certain way. Like the religion, how religion itself can be so controlled, and you do these things. You show up to church, you make sure you tithe, you're in this ministry, you're doing that in the community. And yes, it looks like those different things in certain seasons, but if you're just doing it to check off a box, that is not really God. That's just another job. That's just another thing that you're doing because you feel like you should, or maybe you're still inside of insecurity or people pleasing and you're trying to work for God's blessing. And that's the biggest fallacy ever because we never have to work for God's blessing. We never have to, and I've had that too, had to earn our worth, had to earn your blessing. You don't have to pay for your blessing either. All you have to do is surrender. All you have to do is surrender. Just straight up surrender and allow God to move you, allow God to feed you, allow God to nourish you, allow God to protect you, to comfort you. And He will allow things to show up so beautifully, like better than you can ever imagine. I mean, when's the last time that you said, Lord, take care of everything? And then inside of that, someone decided to gift you with a couple of dollars because you know that you were looking for a little bit of extra money because these bills came out, or maybe you just wanted to take yourself out to eat but you couldn't because all of your bills consumed everything, or maybe you overspent, or maybe something had happened. Whatever it is, you just wanted to just do something and you needed an extra couple of dollars, and out of nowhere it just showed up. You got a random smile from somebody at the gas station and it lit up your day. Or someone told you something in the elevator on your way to work or to the gym or wherever you are, and it just said, wow, I don't even know you, and you said something that I needed to hear. That's God. That's the Spirit. That's the truth. And what I'm so proud of myself for is being able to realize that there is a difference between religion and spirituality. And while I go to church, while I believe in Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and the Trinity, I also am learning to understand God, like who resides within me. When it says to be like Jesus, he says we can do miracles. He says we can do healing. He says we are to be his hands and his feet, and God is doing everything inside of him. He's doing more than what you can ever imagine, and motivating you to do more of his work. That's why you have the desire for the business. That's why you have the desire for partnership. That's why you have the desire for being healthy. That's why you have the desire to move to this new location. That's why you have the desire to do this new career, and you just doesn't make sense. It says, lean not into your own understanding, but in all your ways trust the will of God. Seek his will and he will show you which way to go. So in our human mind, you're never going to get all of the answers. It's never going to be correct. In fact, it talks about wisdom, and I looked it up here. Wisdom means the soundness of an action or decision with regard to the application of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. You're making a sound action and decision with regard to the application of experience. Once you had enough experience of God just showing up, of just stuff working out, and you like, how? And I didn't do it at all. And on top of that, it was way better than I could have ever done. You can allow yourself to surrender, and it takes you against you. This is not a game with you and anybody else. I don't care who's next to you. I don't care who you got a beef with. I don't care who you even happy with. It's not even about them. This entire life experience is about you. It is about you mastering the transition from ego to God, from fear to love, from lack to abundance, and continuing to keep those things in mind all day. Now that's real work. I was reading in The Science of Getting Rich, and it says that that's probably the hardest thing, to stay in faith and to have faith and to keep your purpose in mind all the time, and to overcome your own mental laziness and old stinking thinking, but to keep focus on your mind, to keep focus on your heart, to keep focus on just the things that, like, I believe bigger for myself. That is the real work. And through that, you tie that through action. Even today, like, I've been feeling under the weather for the last couple of days. My nose was dripping, like it was just doing some stuff. I was like, what is this? I was like, am I like, the weather is nice, why am I tripping, like what's going on? And I was doing a lot in my business. Even having resigned from my job, it felt like I was not resting. Like there were things, helping with the family. There were things I wanted to do for my business. There were things that I wanted to do here on my channel. There were things that I wanted to do with the church. And I still had an active workload, and I needed to rest. And I'm grateful for being under the weather because I just said, let me just rest. And I'll take you with this here. I've also been reading recently a book called The Course in Miracles. I love Marianne Williamson, and I know that a lot of her speeches and talks are about this. But I want to read a little insert. It's in chapter 11, God or the Ego. And it says, the guest whom God sent you will teach you how to do this. If you but recognize a little spark and willing to let it grow, your willingness need not be perfect because his is. If you will merely offer him a little place, he will lighten it up so much that you will gladly let it be increased. Would you be a hostage to the ego or a host to God? When you are weary, remember you have hurt yourself. Your comforter will rest you, but you cannot. You do not know how. For if you did know how to rest, you would never have grown weary in the first place. Unless you hurt yourself, you can never suffer in any way, for that is not God's will for his son. Pain is not of him, for he knows no attack. and his peace surrounds you silently. God is very quiet, for there is no conflict, and conflict is the root of all evil. For being blind, it does not see whom it attacks. Yet it always attacks the Son of God, and the Son of God is you. The kingdom is his, and yet he wanders homeless. God's Son is indeed in need of comfort, for he knows not what he does, believing his will is not his own. At home in God, he is lonely and amid of his brothers and his is friendless. The way is not hard, but it is different. Yours is the way of pain, of which God knows nothing of. That way is hard indeed, and very lonely. Fear and grief are your guests, and they go with you and abide with you on the way. But the dark journey is not the way of God's Son. Walk in the light and do not see the dark companions, for they are not they are not fit companions for the Son of God, who was created of the light and is in light. When they talk about Son of God, he's in you. This is not someone separate or some being separate. He's in you. How you can see this? How can you see the dark companions in such bright light like this? There is a scripture that talks about even the light and the darkness are the same to God in Psalms. If you see them, it is only because you are denying the light. But deny them instead, for the light is here and the way is clear. So we talk about surrendering, and ultimately it's our lack in trust of God and our lack in trust that we are taken care of. It's our lack of trust that all things are well, all things are good at every moment. That doesn't mean when it just feels good. It means even when things are happening, it's show me what you want me to do. In fact, I surrender all of this and my thoughts about this so that you can take over. Friends, masters, hey, we in this transition together, and I want you to celebrate your small wins. I want you to surrender being perfect or having all the answers or knowing what you think you need to do in every next moment. Having the plan. I'm a project manager. Trust me, I know about planning and risk mitigation and what if then scenarios. Like, I got all of that. It don't work here. You can surrender your heart. You can surrender all the things that are worrying you. You can surrender what your next transition is supposed to be, who you're supposed to be right now. Who are you supposed to be in this moment? You can surrender all of that, and you get to be and allow whatever comes to you as what's next. It is love. If it's in love, meaning if you are able to be a space, and this is my prayer for you, my prayer for myself, my prayer for all of us in this transition season, or just life, I'll say transition life, is to be a space where you can wholly invite, where other people feel invited to be the best versions of themselves, where your level of love is so solid that they find comfort in your presence, i.e. God's presence. Not that, and I say that like because God lives within you. So they feel comfort in your presence and they feel the presence of God in your presence, that they are invited to be the best versions of themselves. They're invited to breathe. Have you ever been around someone, or it hasn't been you, where you just decided that when you just took a deep exhale and you just let it go? They feel like they can do that and they can be seen, they can be heard. But first, in order for you to be that space, you have to be that space for yourself, which means you have to surrender it first and allow your creator to work a miracle in you. And a miracle is not just someone being raised from the dead to life. You could even say that you may have been dead. You're physically living and you're dead spiritually. You're just walking around on earth, not really doing much, not really connecting or knowing your identity. But a miracle really is just a shift in perspective. It's a shift from fear to love. It's a shift from worry to joy and gain. It's a shift from feeling unsafe to feeling secure and trusting and accepting. That is a miracle. You don't need a grand thing or the appearance of this grand thing. It's just that shift in your perspective. It's that shift in your heart. It's that shift. All right, friends. This has been fun. I want to say a prayer for you, and then I'm going to let you be good, and we're going to keep probably talking about this message of surrender, because I am just so grateful through my surrender and releasing the role that I had that I knew was not serving me, and they are good people, but just I had exhausted the role. And when I advocated for myself over and over and certain situations happened and I just kept hitting a brick wall, the love within myself said, I got you. Surrender it to me, and I released it. And there are new opportunities coming. I was able to help secure in the last 3 weeks thousands of dollars for myself and for the church, doing different work that I've just been wanting to do. It's just been how it's been happening. I can't really tell you how I don't fully understand it. I just know that it is. And I know that my work today, here, now, is to continue to surrender because I'm going through it too. Is to continue to learn the mastery of transition, right, with myself and being that guide for you and that comfort in that space and that community for you to join me. So, friends, let's bow your head and close your eyes if you can. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Lord, thank you for helping to remove all nerves. Thank you for giving me the language despite not always knowing if I had it to give. Thank you for moving me out of the way and Lord, not pushing in a way of just forcefulness, but Lord, thank you for allowing me to relax so that I can be a voice for you. Father, I pray for anybody who is hearing this message, Father, that they know your light and they know that they are called according to your purpose and that they reduce themselves and become all that you have called them to be. Lord, reside in them, abide in them, and take over. Father, we have all of our brothers and sisters here on this earth, and our main goal is to unite everybody for your glory and kingdom. And it looks so many different ways, but love is the only answer for everything. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the mastery of transition. Thank you for you are the master that is inspiring the masters within us. Thank you so much, Father, for who you're being and who you are allowing each of us to be. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your breath. Thank you for taking care of us. Thank you for your safety, your protection, your nourishment, your guidance, and your love. Lord, we are never in lack. We are always here, heaven on earth, as long as we are in the awareness and the presence of your glory. In Jesus' mighty and matchless name, I pray. Amen. All right, masters. Leave a comment. Let me know how you all feel. This is a little different. I had a little bit of a script, just kind of some points that I wanted to say. I won't say script, but points that I wanted to make. But let me know how you feel about this. Tell me in the comments, what does surrendering mean to you? Where are you at in your life? What do you need more of? What are you proud of yourself about? How can I help? How can we build this community?